Hello and welcome. Today I am looking at how I can use a content management system such as Course Sites by Blackboard as a way of not only providing my students information, but also as a way of assessing my students. The first thing that I want to talk about is how I'm going to use this. I am teaching a freshman world history class, and we're talking about World War I and the Russian Revolution. Being that it's a world history class, sometimes it's difficult to get all of the information from the beginning of time until today in a semester. So one thing that I like to do is allow students to learn online and then come into class, and then we'll work on some activity or we'll review yesterday's material, something of that sort. I found that by having this sort of flipped classroom, it really enables students to figure out how to learn, as well as helps me to see what the students are getting and what they're not, and where I can better help them. So what I've done is I've created a content page, and inside of this content page I have the readings for the week. So the students are to click on the Russian Revolution, and the first thing it's supposed to do is click on the reading. Once they click on the reading, they will see that it just appears right in the content management system. So they will go through this, and they're going to read about the causes of the Russian Revolution, as well as several other events that took place during the revolution. While they do this, they're going to be taking notes, and they are going to be working on how can they best answer these questions. So as they're reading, they'll then go to the Russian Revolution's reading questions, and then they will answer the questions that go along with the reading. Once they have done that, the big assignment for them, they have two ways that I'm going to assess students really. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make students participate in a discussion board and respond to two classmates. So within this CMS, within Course Sites by Blackboard, I'm able to set up a discussion board. And once they're in this discussion board, they are able to read the question, respond to the prompt, and then add to their classmates' answers. So I'll be looking for them to come and create the best possible answer to this prompt, which will then be used on the test, the final assessment. But the question says, how did the Industrial Revolution lead to World War I? This is something we've already reviewed, and I'm just seeing where they are. I'm making sure students are meeting my goal of understanding that the Industrial Revolution led to World War I because of the need for goods and products and so forth. I also asked them to provide evidence to support their answers. This is where they will be able to help their peers. So they will go through and they're going to answer this. They will review their peers' work and say, hey, I didn't think of that. I really liked how you provided this evidence. Or why don't you consider looking at this as a piece of evidence? So hopefully I'll be able to use this as a tool to provide students an opportunity to learn from each other. Once they've done this, they'll go back to the content page. And then my other assessment that I'm going to have them do is not actually in the CMS. I want to have students use this as their class site, and then ultimately be able to find other ways of improving their education. And one way I found to do this is through Poplet. So the first assessment is going to come in the form of a discussion board. Once they've done this, then they'll go to poplet.com. I've used Poplet a few times in my class, and the goal of a Poplet is basically a mind map where the students can show me the connections that they've made through the reading. So they're going to make a mind map that clearly explains what Russia was like before the Russian Revolution, how the Tsar got overthrown, as well as who the Bolsheviks are and how they gained control of Russia ultimately. The students are going to use this mind map, create it, and bring it into class. Once in the classroom, students are going to be able to work with each other to make their mind maps more complete. As a class, we will come up with a mind map that we will have on the board that students will be able to copy down, study, learn from, and grow from. The point of these assessments is not to tell the students that they don't know something or create a world where students feel that they weren't successful. The goal is to have students learn from each other and be able to create an assessment that we then use to direct our instruction. So once the assessment is complete and the Poplet is done, I will be able to see very clearly what students understand the material, where the students are lacking, and how I can best help them. The reason that I liked this assessment and like this course size by Blackboard is because it really enables me to not be the tyrant at the front of the classroom. Students are going to learn from me, they're going to learn from each other, they're going to learn from their readings and their own individual work, and I think that all of those combined are going to really help students grasp the material. The other great thing about course size by Blackboard is it really helps me because once they're working, they have an actual grade book. Once they have their grade book, I can go to course reports and see students' activity, I can see their performance, I can see their grades, and this really helps me have one place that students can go. It also allows parents to kind of see what's going on in their students' lives. All of this is based on North Carolina standards, which is basically how national, regional, and ethnic interests have contributed to conflict. I also looked at how they're going to analyze global independence and shifts in power in terms of political, economic, social, and environmental changes. Basically, all these things are talking about how did Russia and the United States and these conflicts between capitalism and communism, how do they lead to the world that we have today? And so hopefully by the time we're done with this unit, students will be able to use their Poplet, use the discussion board, and come up with a way of really providing evidence as to how the world has changed because of the Cold War. I think that this is really good, and I think that it's going to be really easy through course sites by Blackboard. The one problem I see is that first, students have to have internet in order to work this. So they have to have a way of going online and participating in this. And second, the other big problem I see is that students are not used to using a course site such as Blackboard. I think that I'm going to try to ultimately link this course site to something in regards to Twitter or Instagram, something in which the students feel more comfortable with. Right now, students are not going to go just check their CMS. So I want to find a way that I can link it to Twitter and allow them to see that the world is bigger than just them and what they know on Twitter. Twitter can be used as an educational tool. Twitter can be used as something in which students can grow and develop as professionals as well as individuals. And I think that by linking course sites and Twitter together, students are going to be able to be more successful and be more motivated to actually pay attention and learn the material. Thank you for your time. I hope that this has been helpful. Please respond via this post or my Twitter account if you have any questions in regards to this. Thank you.